Hello, I am Wayne Fraser. I'm the founder of Our2Souls, and this is the world's first true matchmaking and relationship app. And I'm talking today with Janel Ball. She's the owner and therapist for Healing Solutions. It's a professional counseling service. She's a registered clinical counselor, and she's based in Vancouver, British Columbia. She's been helping people for about 25 years now. Janel, thanks for joining me today. I'm looking forward to our relationship chat today. I'm so excited to ask you a few questions, and it's all about relationship skills. But I think you had a question for me.
Yeah, I want to know more about what Our2Souls is.
Our2Souls is a matchmaking relationship dating app, and we roll it all into one because a while ago I found myself using a lot of dating apps. And I was out of a very long-term relationship, about 30 years. And after a few years of healing, I went out into onto the dating apps and was exploring what sort of solutions were out there, and I wasn't finding very much. And in fact, I was feeling worse and worse about myself the longer I spent on them. So I tried to figure out what was happening, and ultimately we landed on the solution that is Our2Souls. And it's basically, it allows people to spend some time to develop their skills in order to get ready for a relationship, learn about what is necessary to be in a relationship, and then connect people who also want long-term relationships with each other. And the third part is we allow them to turn that off and then focus on all the material that we have that they can learn and stay in the relationship for the long term.
So it's much more about matchmaking than just like um lots of people you can go on dates with.
Exactly. There's lots of apps out there that will connect you to people once you go through all of the steps that they require, and they make it very easy for you to sign up. They just make it very hard for you to connect to people.
Hmm.
And this one, yeah, we focus on a science-based algorithm that connects people based on who they are, not necessarily on attributes or preferences.
Yeah, so it sounds clever, like a whole new way of doing things.
100%. We have designed this in a way that is unlike any other app out there that people would use in order to get connected to other people for a long-term relationship. We focus only on people who want long-term relationships. We give them the information and the training that they need in order to be in that relationship and stay in that relationship. That's unlike anything else that's out there right now.
Well, and I guess you and I are here to talk about relationships.
Absolutely. So do I get to ask your question now? Or
Sure.
I want to ask my question to you.
Sure.
Okay, that's awesome. So the question that I've been really excited to ask you is why do you talk about relationship skills with your clients so much?
Well, I mean, it's one of the main things people deal with. Um, Inevitably, it seems that the most stressful part of most people's lives are other people. And a lot of people have a lot of relationship problems. I mean, we know what the divorce rate is, and a lot of people don't know how to, properly relate to their significant other.
Yeah,
I think a lot of what happens is like um, stuff we've learned in childhood, what we saw with our like our parents and other family members, and our own experience with our parents and how we feel about ourselves. And so when we're in our relationships today, all of the new information gets filtered through these old beliefs
right.
and old experiences and ends up playing out again in our primary love relationships in adulthood.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of skills that we need. But I'm wondering whether you could tell me what you think maybe the top three are.
So I have often been telling people that I think 100% of relationship success depends on picking a good relationship partner.
Yeah,
And so somebody who wants to be in relationship and somebody who possesses certain skills to be able to make that relationship work, because a lot of people do not have those. So the top three I think that we could talk about today would be empathy. I think empathy is number one most important relationship skill, and reliability. And what was the third one? I can't remember now.
I think we talked about listening.
Oh yeah, listening.
Perfect. Okay. So the top one that you chose was empathy.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people can relate. Um, Describe what you mean by that, and why is it so important? Why did it make the top of your list?
Well, empathy in like in all relationships, friendships, love relationships, even parent-child relationships, like being able to put yourself in the other person's shoes
Hmm.
is like hugely important.
Yeah.
Because if you can't do that, how are you going to like really be able to like understand each other? And there's a, in the relationship world, there's a term called attunement, which
Okay.
is like where you're kind of like in tune with each other.
Makes
And so
sense.
if you have empathy and you can sort of like gauge what's going on with the other person, you know how to respond appropriately.
Okay, so if I'm in a relationship and I am thinking, okay, does this person have the empathy that I'm looking for? What are some of the outward signs? What would be the things that one would watch for as either being, and I hate to use this term because it's so overused, but red flags versus green flags. What would be the things that I would be watching out for to say, yeah, that partner has the empathy that I'm looking for a long-term relationship?
Well, I guess when you're getting to know somebody, you'd be like, how do they respond to the information they're learning about you?
Hmm.
Or if they know that something's important to you, do they ask about it?
Okay.
Or if you're tired, you've had a really long day, but you've decided to still meet up with them, can they adjust accordingly? Like maybe you don't have a super long date that night. Maybe you just grab dinner and go home if somebody's tired. Like how does a person respond appropriately to what is going on in your life?
So it's kind of like um, putting somebody else's or understanding somebody else's position and and
Responding appropriately.
modifying. Is it modifying your behavior
A
based
bit.
on what they're telling you or showing you?
Yeah, so it's not like you don't want to change who you are type of thing, but it's
Yeah.
like in the moment, what is going on with this person and can you respond appropriately? Or sometimes with clients, I'll give the example of like even just music. If somebody's interested in genre of music
Yeah.
and it's not your cup of tea, it's not something you're interested in, but you have to know that that is like that person's truth, that they like heavy metal or they like country or they like whatever. Or hip hop, like it can be whatever they're into, and that is that person's truth, even if you really don't like it.
Right.
So if you're going to be a good partner to that person, if they go to concerts all the time,
Yeah.
in this genre of music, well, you're going to have to, probably either get on board of supporting them to go to the concerts or even go with them sometimes, because that would be a good relationship skill. Insulting the music, putting down the artist, saying that their taste in music's terrible would not be good relationship skills.
Yeah, that could be a deal breaker for sure.
Yeah.
Is there such thing as too much empathy? Can you have too much empathy in a
Oh,
relationship?
yes, yes. I think myself and other therapists are sometimes guilty of that because we want to see the good in everybody and we want to try and we have all these skills where we can be understanding. So yeah, I think yeah, I've definitely been guilty of that, having too much empathy and then maybe not having enough boundaries around like what is truly acceptable in a relationship and what is not.
Okay, I understand. So the too much empathy is something that we have to self-discover rather than can we identify too much empathy in a prospective long-term partner?
Well, I
Other
think
than they're a therapist, a counselor, or a
right. I've learned how to have like the right amount of empathy. I
yeah,
think
that's
I'm
right.
working hard. Um, I think boundaries are really important in knowing yourself. I think
Okay.
this is something that you had mentioned somewhere else along the way, that knowing
Yeah.
yourself is really important because then you can know where your boundaries lie, what your standards are, when to be empathetic, when to set a boundary, and what that would look like. And so I think a big part of that is knowing yourself. And so, doing some work on yourself and really understanding yourself. But a lot of times I'll have clients come in who don't really know themselves. They just feel
Right.
lost. They've been living their life the way they've been told since childhood and now in relationships and as they go along. And often at midlife, people are really learning who they are. And then
Yeah.
some people can be a little bit upset that it's taken so long, but I tell them they're right on time because this is what midlife does.
Yeah.
When you
Exactly.
hit your 40s, around 40, between like I've read that it's like between 38 to even 50,
Yeah.
we all go through midlife. And there's
Yep.
often big changes that happen then. So, like really learning about yourself and what's important and what have you learned from the past that you can take forward with you. And then you would know when can you be respond appropriately in an
I
empathetic
think that's
way and
awesome.
when you need to set a boundary.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Okay, number two you mentioned, and this is really a hot topic, and that is reliability.
Mm.
Um, can we make like how would you describe reliability and its importance in a relationship?
Well, I think reliability has a lot to do with showing up when you say you're going to
Right.
and not changing plans and keeping your word, acting with integrity
Hmm.
so that, trust can really be built. Like your partner can trust that you're going to
Right.
say
Good point.
or do what you say you're going to do, and vice versa. And so, like, if you make plans, if you say you're going to show up in a certain way, it's really important to do that. And from both sides. I think a lot of times people get in relationships looking for what they can get from the other partner
Right.
instead of like, what can you give? There's got to be a two-way street. If you want something that's actually going to work,
Yeah.
like it's got to be a two-way street of trusting each other.
Which makes sense. So now it's interesting because, our very first introduction to reliability might be that first date, right? And
Mm,
so a lot of people will say, "Oh, you know what? I was only 5 minutes late. I was only 10 minutes late," or something that really kind of starts things off in almost a negative way. And one of the reasons why I think a lot of people kind of judge that first date as being, is this person somebody that I
mm,
want to
mm,
date
mm.
again? And it really starts off, I think, with the reliability. Would you agree with that as our first introduction?
Well, I mean, definitely that would be part of it. I
Mhm.
would say, depending on the person, you might want to give them another chance. If you really, if there was a lot of good chemistry and a lot of good things going on, my partner canceled our first date, my current relationship.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, because he told me he was really nervous. He hadn't been out on a date with somebody new for a long time.
Oh, that's so sweet,
And he
actually.
got very nervous, and he did admit to me later on that he actually, like, he kind of just told me a little fib
I
as to
see.
why he canceled our first date. But eventually we got together, and it's been like, I don't know, we're probably going on 2 years now. So,
That is really interesting. Okay. So
mhm.
now what were you thinking at that moment when he canceled it? Like, was it hard to get over this reliability hump, or how did you judge
No,
reliability going into the second and third
well,
dates?
and so then now, I see he is extremely reliable.
Hmm.
And so even though at the beginning it didn't quite work out, like I gave him, there was so many, good things between us that I gave him a chance, and now he's just the most reliable person I have ever met, actually.
That is really good to know because a lot of
Yeah,
people would have taken
yeah,
that first date and just
yeah,
gone, you know what? That's
yeah. I
that's
think
that's
I
it.
think sometimes you have to look at like big picture, and are some people going to make mistakes? For sure.
Yeah,
And
that's
are
fair.
there little adjustments along the way? For sure. But if you look at big picture, like I think in the last conversation you and I had, I talked about relationships being like a pie, of like 100 pieces. And so you have to look at like there's a lot of pieces that go into this. If
Yeah.
he had been canceling all the time, probably you wouldn't still be together. But
I
it was really just that one time. And I know now it's because he was just super nervous.
Right. So, what do you think would be a really good, I shouldn't say a test of reliability, but more of an indicator in early dating? If it's not necessarily being on time or canceling a date, what do you think what could somebody viewing this video use as kind of a benchmark as to, oh, my person is reliable or not reliable?
I
Because
think you just have to see, like, give them a chance over a period of a little bit of a period of time to see if this person is able to really show up. Do they keep their word?
yeah,
And like, how are they also like interacting with other people in their life?
right.
Like,
Okay. So what other
if
people
they
might
have,
say about them?
well, or if they have kids, like, are they on time picking up their kids from school? That kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think we may be a little too quick to judge somebody's
Mhm.
reliability. So I really appreciate you giving us that personal anecdote about your
Yeah,
situation. And it's great that you're still, still together after
yeah,
this period of
yeah.
time.
Well, and he has turned out to be the most reliable person, and he told me why he had to cancel that date,
Yeah.
and it's turned out great. So I'm glad I gave him that chance.
Which is kind of interesting that we kind of go in. This is a nice segue because we go into the third one that you mentioned, which was listening. And
Hmm.
describe what you mean by this. I think we all have kind of a rudimentary understanding of what listening is, but listening in a relationship, I think, goes quite a bit beyond that.
Hmm. Well, I think we hear people talk about like active listening or listening to be able to respond.
Right.
And so if you can't sort of regulate yourself to be able to, pause inside yourself and actually truly pay attention to what the other person is saying so it can actually go into
Yeah.
your in your ears and like actually into your brain to think about it, um, then you're gonna have a hard time being in a relationship with somebody if you're just like wanting to respond, wanting to respond, wanting to defend yourself, wanting to respond. But like being able to like have a deep breath. I tell people all the time, wiggle your toes, just bring the energy down, wiggle your toes, and it'll
Okay.
just like can calm things a little bit. And then just like listen, like focus on what the person's actually saying.
Right.
And now I do have one caveat to this is that men and women have a little bit of a difference in how our brains work. I'm not sure if I mentioned this in our last
No, you haven't.
conversation.
Please tell. This
No.
sounds very interesting.
So I work a lot with men,
Mhm.
as you know, and then some of the research that I have done I wrote a book about all of this at one point, but it ended up being very political. And I was like, I don't want to publish this and have and it be like a very stressful event in my life. I really rather just focus on my client work.
Mhm.
So, anyways, in some of the research that I did, I found that the corpus callosum, the part of the brain that joins the two hemispheres,
Okay.
is about 20% more dense in women.
Oh,
And so, uh,
yeah.
what this means is that, like evolutionarily, like men can be very tunnel vision, where you're in one compartment of your brain kind of at one time, and it can be like difficult to like move into another compartment. Where
Okay.
women, we can, because we have more connectivity between the two sides, we can jump around a lot easier. So it's not
Yeah.
right or wrong or good or bad. It's just a difference.
It's just being
Uh,
able to, would a lot of people relate to this as multitasking?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so the way I learned about this was if you think about caveman and cavewoman back in caveman, cavewoman times, the man would be out in the cold, quietly by himself to kill the animal,
Yeah.
like just waiting,
Yeah.
right? And so like one focus, one thing going on, where the woman would be at home because it's before birth control and all that kind of
Lots of
stuff.
kids.
So there's like if they're having sex or having babies, and so she's responsible for watching this child, watching this baby, cooking, cleaning, picking berries, like can have a lot going on all at the same time. So our brains
Sure.
developed a little bit differently. And so when it comes to listening in today's world, I think men can be in a compartment in their brain, and if they're not saying anything as a woman, we can think, oh, well, they can listen to me now.
Right.
And so she might start talking. But if he's in a compartment in his brain where he's actually thinking about something, he's not really going to hear.
Right.
And it's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It just is.
It's
Like
just
it's just,
wiring.
yeah. And a lot of women will say, "Oh, you don't listen to me. Oh, you don't listen to me. Oh, you don't listen to me." But it is
Yep.
just wiring. Like happens with my partner all the time. And I'm like, "Oh, that's okay. You didn't catch what I said. I did tell you this, but I guess I said it to you at a time when you didn't quite catch it.
Right.
Not the end of the world. Like he's
Right.
not trying to ignore me." And
No.
so one thing I learned is that it can be helpful if a woman has a few things she wants to talk to her partner about,
Right.
or to start keep a little tally about like so and so has to go to this baseball game, and we need to pick up more dog food. And like if there's a few
Yeah.
things, pause him from what he's doing, like get his attention, and
Right.
then give him all the information at one time, and then let him get back to what he was doing.
Makes sense.
Instead of just being like, "Hey, we have to go to baseball.
And just
Hey, we have to pick
unload.
up dog food." Hey, because if he's busy doing something else, like it's probably not going to land, and then she's going to think he's being rude and not listening. But
Right.
really, he maybe hasn't done her part to get his attention focused on her to listen.
So it's
So,
kind of a joint effort. When we're talking about
mm,
listening, it's a joint effort between the person talking and the person listening.
mm,
Whereas, we can do our best to listen,
mm,
but from somebody who wants to be understood, it's important to set up your partner for success, I think is what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
And then if
yeah,
you do that, and now they're in a place where they can be successful, then they can listen to you. And we use this term men and women, and that was the example in your research. But my guess is there's a little bit of both going on in pretty much everybody
yeah.
that we talk to. Somebody that is focusing, we know that anybody that's focusing on their work, and if you come
Hmm.
out of the blue and say, well, this, and this gets done, needs to get done,
Hmm.
even as a supervisor or as a parent, or it's the chances of success is
Yeah.
less than if you set that person up for success so that they can listen. It's not just
Hmm.
the person listening should be ready to listen, but
Yeah.
sometimes they need a little help from the person that's speaking.
Yeah, just to say, hey, like, let me know when I can tell you these two things, or like, hey, is it possible to talk to you at the moment? Well,
Yeah,
and so then if you're open to it, we can talk a little bit about the um, assertiveness communication strategy that I
sure.
talk to clients about all the time. It's
Yeah,
getting to be
absolutely.
more and more well known. So it's based on a book called Nonviolent Communication
Yeah.
by Marshall Rosenberg. Um, from my understanding, he was even years ago, he went to the Middle East. He even tried to help with peace talks and stuff. Like that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And but his strategy is to like for both people to like make an agreement to sit down,
Hmm.
turn the phones off. They're not going to be interrupted and they know they're going to have a conversation about something. But then the assertiveness strategy is a way where a person can say something, like sit there, it's to have a conversation if they're upset about something, and to say it in a way where the other person doesn't have to get their defenses up.
Right.
And so they talk about like connecting at a heart level,
Okay.
where you would say, like in this situation, naming the facts,
Yeah.
this is how I felt.
Okay.
And then the third part is to talk about your human need that was not met in that
Okay.
situation. I have a need for my partner to be reliable or my partner to be more
Yeah.
empathetic or whatever it might be. And my partner to keep their word. And then step four is to make a request, not a demand, a request of what you would like to see happen in the future.
Okay.
But now the trick with this is the agreement for this to work has to be that you stay on that person's topic. So one person is the sort of speaker, the other person is the listener,
Okay.
and then step five is for the listener to repeat back what they heard you say.
I've heard that technique. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the first person corrects as necessary. And so they might say, "Oh, well, I get that that's what you heard, but that's not what I said."
Yeah.
And so the speaker wants to have their one, two, three, four planned out ahead of time and then
Right.
just stick with it. In this situation, I felt this. This is my human need that is not being met. And in the future, I would like to request that things be done this way.
I love that.
And to just like it's more about like owning what's going on for you. And when you talk about your human need of not being met, of like I have a need to be able to trust my partner, for my partner to
Mhm.
be reliable, that makes sense. And it's
Yeah.
not pointing the finger of like you're unreliable, I can't trust you, because you can see how a person might
You're
like get their
speaking from your
defenses up.
truth.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
really, with just what's going on for you as a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the other person, if you stay on the one topic then you're actually going to be able to make a lot more headway than if the other person is like, yeah, well, you did this and this and this and this. Well, like
Oh,
you're just not going to
gosh.
get
Yeah.
anywhere, right?
Yeah.
People do it all the
And
time.
I think we've all experienced that.
Yeah. Oh, for
And this
sure.
is this is a way maybe to do a reset on that conversation,
Hmm.
such that it would be more productive.
Oh, for sure. If you can stay on one topic and learn how to do this one topic at a time, you might be really surprised at like how much in your relationship can actually improve because you're going to understand each other a lot better and some healthy changes can be made along the way.
Right.
Because the way
And
people,
it leads to so many other relationship skills that it kind of opens the door
yeah,
to get back in tune with that person as well, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah, to really understand each other, like at a heart level or human level, like what is really happening
Yeah.
for this other person? When I do this, what is going on for my person?
Yeah, I love that. No, that's really insightful, and I'm sure everybody listening is going to feel the same way. It'd be really cool to see if the people listening leave a comment, see whether this is true, and curious about what your techniques are as well. So we've been talking for a while. I think we should probably there's so many topics that we can discuss, and you and I have chatted about a bunch of things that we could. I think our next topic though is what to look for in the character of a prospective long-term partner.
Mhm.
And I'm looking forward to chatting with you about this soon. But for the time being, it was a pleasure, always a pleasure, Janelle.
Thanks.
Looking forward to our next chat.
Okay, see you next time.
Okay, bye for now.